today I'm going to be doing a review of the Flywoo Baby Nano 16, which is a 1.6-inch open prop drone. As far as quick specs go, this drone uses 1002 motors in varying kVs depending on what version you get. It has an all-in-one flight controller with everything integrated except for the receiver, which in my case is an Express LRS receiver. It has 400 milliwatt video transmitter and uses 1S batteries between the sizes of 450 milliamp hours and 720 milliamp hours. This drone dry weighs 29 grams, and with a GNB 720 milliamp hour high volt, it weighs 44 grams. Before I get into flight footage, if you guys could go, please leave a like and press the subscribe button. It costs nothing to you and it helps support me to make more content like this. Alright, jumping into our flight footage here, you can see I'm running 400 milliwatts on raceband 8 and 500 milliwatts on my ELRS controller. This drone comes in 3 different video systems. That comes in analog, Walksnail, and HD0. As you can tell by the video quality, I have the analog version. And there's one other important difference between these. That is that the other birds, the HD0 and Walksnail ones, have an integrated ELRS receiver, and the video transmitter is obviously going to be external because it's a digital one. As far as the analog performance of this analog setup, it's pretty good. I found the range to be surprisingly good despite the fact that it's using a linear antenna and I'm using right-hand circular polarized antennas, which means I'm essentially only getting 60% of the range I could be, or 60% of the output power. That doesn't necessarily scale with range. But yeah, I found the range to be surprisingly good. I'll show you guys later, but you can almost fly as far as you'd really want to, considering how much battery you have. As far as the camera goes, it's pretty decent. I did have some problems with PAL and NTSC mode switching on one of my sets of goggles. Now, technically that's my goggles' fault, but also technically it's the camera's fault, so make of that what you will. But using my Fat Shark Dominator V3s, I didn't really have much of a problem, but basically what would happen is it would get stuck in PAL mode when this is an NTSC camera, I believe. Which would cause you to lose about 10% of the screen vertically and everything did not have colors, which was a little annoying. But as far as flight time goes, this drone gets very solid flight time. I found anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes of, decently spirited flying like this, which is very solid. I mean, if you remember back just a couple years ago, you'd be lucky to get like 2 or 3 minutes out of tinywhoop, and now you can get like 6 minutes, which is kind of crazy. But this drone also has a choice of using tri-bladed or quad-bladed propellers. I'm using the tri-blades just because they fly better. They have since, I'm pretty sure, shipped 2 sets of tri-blades instead of a set of quads and a set of tris, because they tuned it for tri-blades, so I don't really know why they included another set of quad-bladed propellers, but that's alright because you can just choose, whichever ones you want to. As far as how it flies decent. I mean, it is 1S, and you're using a pretty big battery, so it's not going to fly like anything crazy. There's a bit of prop wash, when you're changing direction sharply, especially when you're getting to lower voltages, like below 3.5, or especially like 3.4, 3.3. There's a bit of shaking, but overall for 1S, I would say it's still very good, and it's a lot better than if you just, took a 65mm tinywhoop outside. It still does get blown around in the wind a bit, but it is a lot better. Yeah, it's almost in a different league, I would go as far as to say. It's not as good as if you remember the 2-inch version of this that runs 2S. It doesn't have as much punch as that, but it's a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter, so it kind of makes it a little bit more nimble. Overall, though, I think this drone is a very good package. And then there's a lot of options, which make it very versatile as well, because there's the freestyle version, and then there's the dead cat version, which the dead cat version is geared more towards cruising. And I mean, as you can see, there's a lot of props in view. This is the freestyle version. So the dead cat version has lower kV motors, which will get you a little bit more flight time. Obviously, I don't have all the versions, so I can't really comment on exactly what the differences are, but you get a little bit more flight time, and then you get less props in view, which if you have, the HD0 one doesn't have onboard recording. You can record DVR, but then you still have your OSD. But that would only seem to make sense to get the dead cat if you're using the Walksnail and you actually want to like record videos with it or whatever. But if you're just buying it to fly it, I would say go freestyle, because the higher kV motors, I would not want to go lower kV than what's on this specifically. But I mean, overall, this thing flies very decently. I'm very happy with it, especially for the price. It's pretty decent. Now, here is just going to be a little bit of range test. I'm not, flying this into the sun or whatever, but just to give you guys an idea, this is a soccer field and then a baseball field, and I'm sitting all the way in the middle of the soccer field, and I'm able to fly all the way to the end of the baseball field, and then all the way through this parking lot. I mean, this is just crazy because a couple years ago, tinywhoops would only have 25 milliwatt transmitters, and I mean, I am using a rapid fire module with some decent antennas, so I can't guarantee your range will be this good, but this is just very surprising to me, especially because, just a couple years ago, this just would not even be possible, and even big quadcopters wouldn't have this kind of range. You can see even our ELS is holding in well, but yeah, this is very impressive range, I would say. And you could probably get even better range if you get walk snail. I don't necessarily know if HD0 seems to be more legible when you have less signal, but the output power is half, so probably the absolute range would be less. But just to give you guys an idea of how far that was, you can see we are very, very far away. Now, overall, I do think this drone is very appealing. It's small enough that you could maybe get away. I have flown it indoors. But any outdoor space, small or big, this thing's a blast. As long as it's not too windy, of course. It gets solid flight time. It has a decent PID tune on it. Now, I have heard that the digital versions fly a bit worse because they PID tuned it for the analog one, which is the latest one. And then obviously adding extra weight on top of that is only going to make it fly worse. But the one I have in front of me flies very good, gets good flight time, gets exceptional range. I mean, 400 milliwatts doesn't sound like that much, but this drone, I wouldn't be surprised if it was making 600 or 800 milliwatts. The range that I've seen out of it was very good. It's also very durable. I know I didn't have a crash reel because I didn't record most of my crashes, but it handled them well. I did have a couple problems with the propellers. You can see right now in the picture I have the newbie drone Azai props. I think that's how you say it. Because all my stock ones just kind of fell off after crashing them a couple times, but yeah, this thing held up to all the abuse that I gave it very well. And overall, for $140, I think this is a great buy, especially because the batteries are relatively inexpensive compared to 5-inch batteries. So you get a lot of flight time for your money. So overall, I would definitely recommend this. And if you guys liked what you saw in this video, I'd appreciate it, once again, if you could subscribe and toss this video a like. It really helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.